So apparently there's a modification you can do with the WRXs in terms of their, not their blow-off valves, but like their bypass valves. Because in the Subarus, they recirculate back to the intake. But I've been looking on some forums, and what I've found is that with the stock valve, it opens, I think, something around 18 PSI is sort of the max it can take. And then that's why people chuck on an aftermarket one. But there's a modification you can do with the stock one that pretty much means you can hold boost like to the moon. The more boost you throw at it, the tighter it closes, and that's sort of like, that's it. So I will leave a link for those forums down below. There's two different ways that we can do it. There's one where you just simply block off one of the holes, and there's another one where you block the hole and then like drill into the side. If anyone knows anything about these recirculating valves, feel free to educate us down in the comments on why we need to drill that side bit. My understanding is that it's so it like equalizes the pressure on the other side of the valve, I think. Worst comes to worst, just tap it and just chuck a little thread in there so that we block it all off anyway. You don't need a retune for this mod either. God, my arm's getting sore holding this camera. I've been trying to use like my big camera instead of the GoPro just to try and make the videos look that little bit nicer. So I hope people are noticing or appreciating the extra work that it takes to sort of set this thing up. But we've got these two bolts here, undo those, and then there is the hose clamp. That hose is probably still going to be the most difficult part of this job of trying to get it back on. Other than that, everything else pretty easy to do. The most used and abused gasket on this Subaru. Never needed to replace it though. Should. I said should. Pop straight off. You're almost there. There we go. So there are people out there who, what they do is they actually crush down the top of this, and that adds like more preload on the spring. But eventually once you run high enough boost, it does overcome that. So what we do need to do, stop moving it. It keeps trying to like follow its focus here every time I move it. Drill, fill, do something with this hole here, and then just on the other side, there's this piece here that apparently we got to drill a hole into that, and that lets that air sort of equalize here. I don't know, I'm just going off the forum. I'm gonna trust the forum because it seems to be written by someone who is far smarter than me, and then we just chuck it all back on. So I've gone and got a grub screw set from Bunnings. It was like $4.20, which is significantly cheaper than having to go buy something like a GFB. So this pack comes with some M8s, M6, M5. I only need the M6 because that's the tap that I already have. The issue is you don't want anything sticking up above the flange, otherwise it's not going to mount properly to your intercooler and then you run into problems. Maybe I'll drill it all out and then I'll get the vacuum cleaner on it afterwards. But this is only just bigger than that hole, so this should be able to just start going straight in. The thing with doing a tap is you just gotta take your time with it, wind it in a little bit, wind it back, wind it in, wind it back. Alright, seems like we've bottomed out there, so we can take that out and test one of our screws. So we've got our screw in there. We're going to come around onto this side and we're drilling out this little hole here. I'm gonna just take it over to the vacuum cleaner, give it a little suck and blow, and then this is sweet to go back onto the car once we chuck that screw back in. Oh, a little bit of WD-40 on that area, and it went on beautifully. The next trouble is actually trying to get it to clamp onto there. Very soon, I think I want to get those bonnet struts for this thing, because they're so handy on the Skyline. Seems to be idling fine, so I'll let it warm up and then take it for a drive. I don't think we'll feel any like difference at all. We'll see if we get any of these like little bit of fluttery sounds when we change gear at all. It opens up, lets the air out, that's where you get the sneeze. If it doesn't open up properly, that's where you get that fluttery sound. I'm not holding up any high hopes for how stable that camera is going to be up there. I don't know if the camera is actually going to pick it up or not. I can sort of hear it try to start the flutter, but then it does open up and let that air out. It seems to be driving fine, it's all driving smoothly. I need to turn around somewhere so we can actually get on it and see where it holds the boost pressure at. I'm pretty sure this car's only running like 9 PSI. Give it the beans! Pulls smoothly, doesn't seem like there's any issues with it. But at least now we know that when we do go and eventually get a bit more boost thrown at this thing, that it should stay closed. I forgot to look at how much PSI we were hitting. Alrighty, we've got a bit of room now. Seems to be right on that 9 PSI still. But all that matters is that we know it's going to stay closed. Theoretically, according to this forum.